How do we feel the love inside? How do we bring the pieces home? This first mask I'm going to introduce you to is my inner child. We had a big old giant backyard with a walnut tree and ivy and grass, and she really loved to go out and play. Do you want to play with me? Okay, come on. Nobody can see us in here. And one day I started this new school. And there was these really mean girls there. We'd be standing in line, and like one would bump into me, and she would go like, "Hey, big nose, get out of my way." I didn't even know I had a big nose. What do you think? What I really wanted to do with this big old nose was throw it in the trash. And they would say, hey, big tits, be careful, don't eat too much, your boobs might explode. They were really hard to hide, alright? So I would put on my dad's big t-shirts, and I would practice in front of the mirror. Standing in this way so you couldn't see him. You can't see him, right? What I really wanted to do was throw him away. The guys that I played with, they didn't care. In fact, they kind of liked him, like on the bus, you know, turn around in their seats, and they would joke with me about how someday, like, these would feed their babies and all of our babies. And one day we were going to go out and camp, me and the boys, and we were going to go out into the campground. I was so excited because we were going to go out for the whole night and be out under the stars. And I actually secretly had a crush on one of the guys, but I never told him. Anyway, I was getting all my stuff together. I was up in my bedroom and I was packing, and then the phone rang. It was the mom of the guy that I liked. And she said, "My son is not going camping with you." "I know what you're up to." What did she think I was up to? What does that mean? That critic, the criticism kind of stuck in my head. Do you have a critic in your head? Here's my critic. "I just hope that you are not even thinking anything wrong." Because there is one right way to do everything. The thing I've learned since about the critic is that it actually has good parts also, because the structure that it wants to hold on to sometimes with discernment can have value. I had an experience because a new boy moved into the neighborhood who I also developed a rather serious crush on. I started to suspect that I might know what the mothers were concerned about when he and I went to the campground together. He was kind of rather fascinated with these, and I said, "Sure, whatever you want to do with them." And so the next thing we know, we're on the ground beneath the oak trees, or doing stuff, and it doesn't really work. And then he told one of the neighbor boys about it and how it didn't really work. My mom and my dad were sitting in the living room, and I had to go on vacation, except that I didn't know if I was pregnant or not. Because I didn't really know if we had done it or not, but I couldn't really go on vacation if I was. So I told them, and there's this silence of like shock. And then my mom asked me, did I like it? This is my shame mask. I'm sorry. People can only tell you that you are doing the wrong thing for so long, right before you start to want to know what the heck they're talking about. So one day I was out riding my horse, and I met a young girl who was also out riding. She was a few years older than me, and I went to her house, and she lived with her mom's best friend in kind of this little trailer. She poured me a glass of wine. I never had wine. And then she said, you know, you got really nice tits. You should show them off more. I showed her a cigarette, you know. What you do, keep the top button undone. So she showed me how to take the top 3 buttons. She said, and you always, always, always leave them open. And then she said, you know, I don't think that you really were de-virginized. We're gonna have to do something about that. This is my rebel mask. One New Year's we drank 3 bottles of champagne and had a quaalude and a hit of acid, and she really looked out for me because she said, you know, like, don't take mushrooms too. Which, yeah. You want to party? You wanna? I ended up going away to a private boarding school. After I graduated, I started praying for a man, long dark hair, into health food, domineering. I like someone a little domineering. And he showed up like 3 months later. And he was into health food and he did sprouty. The only thing was he kind of didn't treat me very good. In fact, he kind of thought I was kind of dumb. So I kind of started acting dumb. And he didn't really like the way I dressed. And he didn't like the way I talked. This is my Blob mask. So I went to the gym. I can have power over this. So I started madly exercising every single day. I knew the calorie count of every single food item. A raisin is 6 calories. And I went to this makeup artist and I learned how to put makeup on. And I went out and I got a new wardrobe. I would just go out to the markets. Man, I felt like a movie star. Guys are like following me down the aisles. I used to get marriage propositions from parking lot attendants, and they didn't know how I really looked. Like my boyfriend, but here's the pleaser. She tried to please everybody and do everything just right. What do you want me to do? I'll do anything. You think I'm pretty? My honey, he really hated it, like when I would try to please other people besides just him. Yeah, I really bummed him out when I would give these parts to other people accidentally. So we finally made a pact and I said, okay, you know what? Fine. You get a box all for you, and you can have the parts that you want just for you, for no one else. Except it's really hard to hold up that pleasing part all the time. So what I would do is go into the kitchen every night and pour a glass of wine while I cooked. And then if you came into the room, this is my Addict. I'm trying to keep it together, man. We got some stuff. Just a little bit, man. Just a little. Just. Whoa. I was so tired and so spacey from just pretty much drinking and not eating. I got so spaced out. And I finally went to a doctor and I said, you know, can you help me? And he took some blood and did some blood tests, and he sat down with me and he said, dear, you need to eat. You need to eat milk, cheese, eggs, ice cream. I don't think that he knew what he was saying. I mean, if I did that, my whole life would be ruined. My darling would leave me. I mean, like, I couldn't, no way! This is my fear mask. I decided to go on this radical diet to eat whatever I wanted, as much as I wanted, whenever I wanted it. It was really about listening, you know, tuning in, saying, okay, what does this body want? So I started to discover that I had some backbone. So I used that a little bit to confront my darling too, and I said, hey, I think we need to go to some counseling. We went to counseling. I was like, okay, we can do this. Just take one step at a time. Try to reassemble, try to figure out how the hell does all this go together. Do you ever get distracted on your way to somewhere that you want to go? Started taking art classes. And then one day, a new student comes to the class. And every time I looked up, he was looking right back. I want someone to save you from whatever you're running from. Just pick you up, pick you away somewhere else, drop you in a new light. This is my Damsel. Save me. Can you save me? Have you got a horse? Well, this did really not go over well with my honey. There are a lot of old issues for both of us from way back. So we're always like looking out, waiting to be terrorized by the other. This is my combat vet. Hey, motherfucker! You wanna fight? The good part about the combat that way is it opened a voice. And the thinking started coming back. I thought, my God, there is so much power, there's so much passion, and I gotta stop trying to ride on the coattails of passionate people, and I gotta find a channel into putting this puzzle back together. And I started writing, and I started dancing, and I started acting. This is my eccentric artist. Wow! What have we got here? Well, we were trying to patch things up and patch things back together. My darling got this book. It's called A Multi-Orgasmic Couple. This connection started to happen like a union into one another and out and in and through. But I still have all these stupid body issues, right? That I just can't freaking shake them. And then one day a friend suggested to me that I model for a woman who's a photographer. I got out in the red rocks and took everything off, and she would tell me when she liked a pose and when to stop, hold. So I had this amazing experience of being out under the blue, blue sky on the red, red earth with the warm summer sun and connecting with the earth. Hold. Nick's mask is easily misunderstood. It's the sacred prostitute. Instead of selling out, she's about being appreciated for what you are. So all of these masks have really helped me start to understand myself and the world. And they all have good sides and bad sides. Everything has a reason for being. And my last mask is compassion. How do we bring the pieces home? How do we feel the love inside? How do we bring the pieces home? How do we make ourselves feel alive? How do we bring the parts home? How do we start to feel more whole? How do we bring the pieces home? How do we not feel so